All right, so we've done the first thing right. So we got that going for us.
Yeah, so we want to welcome all of you to the Executive Director to Integrated Regional Room. We want to make sure y'all are in the correct room. We're going to go over that in a moment, but welcome to the Breakout Bootcamp. We love these boot camps, y'all. They have helped us in our business tremendously. So we are so excited to actually be hosting and sharing with all of you tonight.
And one thing, just a little bit of housekeeping. I see a question. We're going to do our best to monitor the chat, so feel free. If it's something as we're going along, by all means, we'll try and do that. We've got a little bit of flex time this evening. We'll probably have some times for actual questions, people coming off mute at the end. But if it's something, yeah, just fire it in the chat. We'll try and keep track and address it as we go. Yes, this is being recorded. We hope. We think it is.
Yep.
We're going to do our best to get it uploaded. That is the master plan. And then, like most of the coach calls, we'll stop the recording. We've got a couple of pretty cool announcements here with us wrapping up June or July, whatever month it is.
July.
And yeah, and getting ready to roll into August.
All
Can't believe it's already August already. So
Almost.
my computer will cooperate. There we go.
Right. So your hosts for this next month, of course, Simple Sue and Basic Bill, and the incredible Robin Weller. Y'all, she is amazing. She inspires us every single day in our business, and we feel beyond blessed to be in this room hosting with Robin.
And again, so this is 4 weeks. Hopefully we'll see you here all 4 weeks. We're going to have a couple of special guests as we go on, but you're stuck with us tonight.
Yep.
So without further ado, though, again, we start off, are you in the right room? And, for starters, we're not kicking anybody out. This is totally your call. I know Debbie shared the other day to kind of take a look at where you've been the last 3 months or so. So you don't necessarily have to be an executive director to regional director right now. But if you've fallen back, which happens, and you're working to get back, and the last few months you haven't been there, you might want to consider being in one of the other rooms, because the goal with all the of these boot camp rooms is to try and get you to the next one. So, but your call, no judgment there. And to that end, we also don't want to take it for granted. Sometimes people blow up. Sometimes things take a little while, and want to make sure you guys understand what it takes. Both in terms of how you got there, how you're going to get there, and even more importantly, one of the continuing themes is going to be how you're going to get your teams to get there.
Yeah.
So, an executive director, by definition, a lot of times we think about dollars, and dollars are important, but technically you get to executive director by earning 5 points in a month. Hopefully that sounds familiar to you. Don't worry if it doesn't. Now, there's a little bit of semantics there, because $1,200 in frontline volume. Hopefully you're comfortable and used to going into Connect, or at least the Coach app, and looking at that. So when you see QV or FQV, that means $1,200, and that number in your business has earned you 1 point. So if you do the math, 1,200 times 5. Yeah, a lot of people, it's very common that they get to executive director by earning $6,000, but technically they've earned 5 points. The reason that's important is, if you've ever heard the term blended path, which can help you or it can help your teams, is for every senior coach leg you have in your business, that equals 1 point. So you don't have to do it all yourself. And when we say senior coach leg, that doesn't even have to be your frontline coach. It's great if you've got, for example, one coach who is a senior coach. That's 1 point. So you could get to executive director with $4,800 in FQB. You could also earn that same point even if that coach is not a senior coach, but if that coach has a coach underneath them that's a senior coach, that's what we call working in depth. That would be a point for you. So it still would only take you $4,800. And with that, again, you can just keep multiplying it. If you've got 2 senior coaches, then you only need $3,600 in frontline volume to become an executive director. So that's an important theme. And if you happen to hop on the call last night and heard Nick Johnson share, or if you were on the Impact event, that was replayed through Ignite, or even if you didn't get to go to Ignite, let's see if I
That's a
can
lid.
here.
Hold on a second. We're going to go ahead and just make sure everyone's on mute. So sorry about that. We should have done that in the beginning.
Oh, I have to do on this computer. 1 second.
If
Yeah.
you want to make me a co-host, I can keep an eye on that and mute people.
Sorry, we will. It's not giving me a co-host option, so we'll figure it out. We got everybody muted, so we're good. Point being, you're also hearing a common theme now about again, growing coaches and dripping coaching. That's an important reason right there. Again, you can hopefully start to see how this plays out and helps. There. So, but the next step, again, this is the ED to regional and integrated regional room. So what's a regional director? A regional director is an executive director who has at least one or possibly two executive director legs in their business. So when we say leg, it's the same thing like we talked about with senior coach. That doesn't necessarily mean that that first frontline coach is the executive director, although that's great. But one or more is going to get you to regional director. The other thing, I'm sure you've all heard the term fully integrated business coach, or FIBC. Regional and FIBC are kind of a chicken and the egg type thing. You can get to either one first in some cases. An FIBC is 5 or more senior coach legs. So that could be, by definition, there are 5 senior coaches. So none of them are an executive director. So technically, it's not a regional director yet. And a regional director, like we said, is just happens to have one executive director. So you might get to one, before the other. And there's a dollar component that goes along with the FIBC as well. But if you put the two together, that's if you start hearing the term integrated, and that can add, additional benefits into each position. An integrated regional is they have the EDs and they have the senior coaches, and it can still just be 5 legs, as little as 5 legs. 2 of them, the executive directors would count towards the senior coaches. So whole lot of discussion, whole lot of numbers, but that is either what gets you in this room, or at least you got there at one point, and you're working to get back there. So that's who we are, this whole bunch. But with that, the other important part is, we talked about that $6,000. You can get to executive director yourself if you're a 5 points just based off volume. But anything beyond that, you're going to have to start adding coaches. Hopefully you have some coaches, and it's going to be about adding and growing coaches, because then we start talking about senior coach legs and additional executive directors. That's what's going to move you through this room. That's what's going to move you into the next room, and progressing beyond from there. So that's ultimately what our goal is. So we're going to talk about how to get there and beyond. And the first biggest thing, we're actually going to talk about this a couple of times tonight. We're going to talk about mindset. Sue's going to take over here for a second. She's going to tell a little story about this picture here.
I am.
And I'm going to stop share so you can see her.
Yeah.
And let me flip this back so you don't freak out. There we go.
All right, Jill. So I'm going to share just a little bit, like Bill said, about mindset and choosing to be here in this room. Okay. Now I'm going to share a little bit of something that probably not many of you all know about me and my story. So I'm going to get real, and I'm going to be a little vulnerable. Can y'all hear my voice shaking? If that's okay with you. So the Sue that you see now, focused on business and very intentional in how I work, is not the Sue that has always been. Y'all, just over a year ago, that picture that Bill just shared, would it surprise you that I almost gave up on this business? Y'all, I was in a pit. I had gotten off track with my personal health. Our business wasn't where I wanted it or had hoped it would be. And y'all, I was blaming so many different things for everything I was feeling and seeing in our business. Can anyone relate to that? Put it in the chat. I want to know. I want to know I wasn't alone. and what I was feeling. So let me just say, y'all, I almost quit. 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 Quit on our business, but even worse, quit on myself. You see, I had stopped believing in this business, so I thought. But in all reality, I had stopped believing in myself. Y'all, I was listening to all the negative thoughts in my head. And yes, even the naysayers out there, I was letting it get to me. So at that time, a year ago, back to that picture, year and a half ago, we were invited to a leadership retreat. Y'all, I did not want to go. Did not want to go. I wanted to stay in my pit and decorate it. I didn't want to be around positive people who were excited about this business. I felt like they would see right through me with my negative attitude and my frustrations with everything. Y'all, I had to make a decision, a choice. Was I going to stay in my pit and decorate it? Or was I going to climb out by choosing to go on that trip and be in that room? Y'all, it wasn't easy, and Bill might have actually had to drag me kicking and screaming, okay? But it changed everything for me. I came to find out that I wasn't alone in my struggles. That's why I wanted y'all to put that in the chat. I wasn't alone in my struggles. On that trip, I learned that others were struggling too. But here's the thing. We all lifted each other up, and we reminded each other of who we are and who we are meant to be. So I decided that weekend that I needed to start believing in myself again. And I knew the rest would follow. So y'all, I did just that. And guess what? The rest did follow. So who here needs to start believing in themselves again? Y'all, I want to applaud each of you for choosing to be here in this room tonight. You showed up for yourself, and your business will follow too. We believe in you, and if you need to borrow our belief in you until you find your own, then please do. So coincidentally, well, I actually don't believe in coincidences. I believe in God incidences. Caden Eccles shared something yesterday about mindset that I want to share with all of you tonight. I'm going to go ahead and read it. This is from Caden Eccles, Gina Eccles' son. Y'all, it's wild how much our mindset can hold us back. I've realized lately that 90% of the problems I face are ones I've created. Over the last couple of months, self-doubt and poo-poo thinking crept in and slowly pulled my focus away from what matters. I hadn't been showing up the same. Power hours felt off. My energy felt off, and I was going through the motions without being fully present. But walking out of Ignite, I had so many aha moments. If you weren't there, man, you've got to get yourself in the room with your leaders. It's electric. My spark is back, and my belief is burning red freaking hot. Over the last 5 days, I've been doing the same work I always do, but this time with belief and energy behind it. And in those days, I've already signed up 2 new clients and booked 3 more health assessments. What the what? I'm realizing that it's not the work that changed, it's my mindset. Why do we let ourselves get in our own way? That was me, stinking thinking. Gina McIntosh Eccles, Caden's mama, always says, your business will never outgrow your personal development. I used to think that just sounded nice, but now I feel it deep in my bones. I'm so thankful for this community, for leaders who pour into us, challenge us, and help us grow into the kind of people who don't just help others lose weight on plan, but people who are on a mission to actually change the world, including our own. There's so much growth in front of us, but it requires us to be brave, bold, and take full ownership of our business and the way we show up. I don't know about you, but this business is the most fulfilling thing I've ever done. And if I want to do this forever, fear cannot sit in the driver's seat anymore. In fact, it can't even sit shotgun. I'm throwing that jerk out the window. Let's keep growing and let's keep changing the world. Love y'all. Oh my gosh, y'all, that spoke exactly to my heart because it's exactly where I was too. So again, congratulations for choosing to be here in this room for the next month with us. We have great things in store for you. So y'all, let's do this together. Back to you, Billy Boy.
All right, so let me multitask here and pull the screen back up, which is there. And go ahead and get you a tissue. So with that, again, so let's talk now how we're going to get you into that next room and above and beyond. Mechanics of doing it. And this again is not going to be any surprise. You know, we just said it's about adding coaches. Adding coaches starts with adding clients. Again, yeah, I know they talked a lot at Ignite, and hopefully you've heard the expression before of putting the oxygen mask on yourself first. And I know we've loved hearing Nick Johnson and other leaders talk about, you know, being bold and dripping coaching. And, you know, we love when folks come in actually interested in being a coach. But statistically, the majority of coaches come from clients. It's clients that are going to drive that FQV for your business. It's clients that are going to find the coaches that are going to become the senior coaches that are going to earn those points. So at the end of the day, no matter what we're talking about in this room, all the things they're talking about in the other rooms about finding clients are still critically important to you. Because once you have those clients, you're going to drip coaching. Again, you've all heard this before, but it works. It's, you know, the same old still does work, because 1 out of 5 clients typically will become a coach. And I actually like the percentage, which I'll explain in a second. 20% is the same as 1 out of 5. Doesn't take rocket science. But so roughly 20% of clients are going to become coaches. And yes, go ahead, find the others out there, but focus on making sure you do this. And then once you have those coaches, we're going to grow them. Again, hopefully you're working closely with your mentors. Hopefully they are part of this broader community. And hopefully every coach that you have right now are participating in this boot camp. And they're in those other rooms right now, because those are all the key things that, you know, we as a group and you as a leader are going to do to try and help progress them to senior coach and executive director and beyond as you grow your business. Because back to the numbers again, roughly 1 out of 3 of those senior coaches, 1 out of 3 of those coaches will get to senior coach. Or again, if you're a percentage person, that's about 33%. And then, again, it's a progression that, you know, roughly 1 out of 5 of those senior coaches, 20% again, is going to continue to grow on upwards to executive director or beyond. Again, the call last night, you know, Dan Valentine, I love the way he expressed it because, again, I mean, there is a ton of relationship and heart and one-on-one. It's not just numbers in terms of what's going on between you and the people, but finding more people is part of a numbers game in terms of that's when those percentages are going to start helping you apply and build your business. But sometimes numbers help and you can understand them a little bit better in pictures. So I've got some little cartoon stick people here for you. Again, so roughly 1 out of 5 clients, but now you can see it visually, is going to become a coach. Okay. But again, they, with a rare exception, they don't start off as coach. Typically, you're going to find those clients and work with them. And, you know, at least one will get inspired to become a coach. Once you got those 3 coaches, not exactly, I'll explain that in a second. But again, statistically, out of 3 of those coaches, one's going to become a senior coach.
Mhm.
And statistically speaking, yeah, out of those 5 senior coaches, one's going to get to executive director or beyond. So again, if you're needing those senior coaches to get to FIBC, if you're needing the senior coaches to build that executive director, This is where they come from. Now, that's kind of what it looks like when you roll it all together, and that doesn't even include the clients underneath there. But here's the important part. You see, I've got flip the cards referenced up at the top. Hopefully you've seen that before. We're not going to completely go through it. In fact, Andy Auchmoody, I think, is going to visit with us in one of the following weeks and actually do that exercise. I've always loved that. The key is, yeah, if you talk long term, that's kind of what it looks like. But every single client has that same 20% chance of being your next coach. And every single coach has that same 33% chance to be your next senior coach, and so on and so on. And so the card analogy is, there's four aces in a deck of cards, right? Sometimes people will draw 2 or 3 or 4 aces in a row, no matter how that deck is shuffled. Every card has that same percentage chance as anything else. So when we say that, that very first coach might wind up being that very first senior coach who might be your first executive director. You've just got to flip those cards to start building your team. But it all starts with, again, typically the clients at the base of it. So again, that's very briefly the how. We're going to spend a lot more how talking over the next couple of weeks, but here's kind of the why. Again, if you've been in the other room and fallen back and you're here focusing, or you're aspiring to get there, we all tend to get wrapped up in ranks and titles, which is great. That there's no foul in, I mean, there's no harm in that. But what does it really mean? When we talk about globals and IPDs, it helps to understand what that actually is and what it can mean to us. So a national director, when we say a national director, which is the first rank above this room, that's an ED with 3 or more executive director legs, which...
Yeah, he's let me share these numbers. That on average can be $7,000 to $9,000 a month. It's worth it, y'all. Let's get you in the next room, right?
So I love titles, but I love cash.
Yeah.
So or a global director. Again, that's 5 or more executive director legs. So you get to national, you add at least 2 more, you become a global director.
Yep. And the fun part about that is $9,000 to $15,000 a month, y'all. Incredible, incredible. And it's totally doable.
And then a presidential director, again, it's all back in the number of ED legs. And just like we were talking senior coach before, this is legs. So it can be in depth. You can have a frontline coach with an executive director below it. You can have 2 or 3 frontline coach or coach, senior coach, whatever. It can be in depth. It's just once you get an executive director underneath you, that leg counts.
Yep. And so here we go. $15,000 plus a month. It's crazy good, y'all. Crazy. And I'll just share that we know lots of people who, yes, Bill and I do this full time, but we know lots of folks who do this alongside other careers, and they're earning this kind of income. So again, the potential is crazy good if we just stay consistent with what we do.
Or IPD, that's the term you hear thrown around a lot. That's a presidential director, so they've got 10 or more legs, but the I stands for integrated. So it's kind of like, with an integrated regional, although in this case, what that means is 5, at least of those 10 are FIBCs. So they've got the senior coach legs underneath them.
Yep. And y'all, mind blowing is all we can say. There's no cap to how much you can earn as an IPD. We've seen some of the numbers, truly mind-blowing. So again, if this is a goal for you, it's absolutely achievable because again, there are quite a few people who have done this.
And so again, there's income disclosure statement. And I'll even go so far again to say that, like Sue said, with these being conservative, there have been times as a regional where we've been earning, national or global level.
Income.
Yeah, income.
Yeah.
And so on. So that's, these are not limiting by any stretch. So the question is, who's ready? You're here. Who's ready to go find those clients and grow those coaches and make this happen so we can all be in that next room the next time we do one of these.
Yeah, let's all do it together.
Sue kind of hinted on where the mindset is important. But with that, we're going to switch over here for a second. I'm going to stop sharing and we are going to flip over. Let me go back to the Zoom room here. And where did Robin go? So I can spotlight Robin. This is what happens when I'm working off 2 different computers.
There she is, Robin. There's Robin.
That's your phone.
Oh, that's her phone.
Or was that your main one? No, that's not her main. Back this one. There she is. All right. So we are going to spotlight Robin. And you can go ahead and come off mute.
Awesome.
And you should be able to screen share.
I'm off. I should be off mute. Okay, guys. Wow, Irwins, that was incredible. And hopefully you guys took a screenshot of that. I did. And maybe you want to circle what your goal is and send that to your mentors. As mentors, we just love it and get so excited for you when you're dreaming and you're believing that there are great things ahead for you. So, Sue, I just want to take a quick second, and I'm sure that you all feel the same way. Please show how much you appreciate Sue and her vulnerability in the chat. Sue, I hope that your story is shared from the big stage someday soon, because I thought I'm in trouble with these fake eyelashes. You're making me cry. But I get to kind of wrap up the whole mindset thing. But wow, did Sue lay the groundwork for where we can find ourselves sometimes with the way we're thinking and be off track with our mindset. But I just want to dig in a little bit to what we can do. And here's a great quote from Dr. Anderson: mindset isn't just a tool for our clients, because we say that all the time to our clients. I do, maybe you do too. It's the foundation of how we coach, serve, and grow ourselves. So the first thing that I want to go over is stop, challenge, choose. We all know it, we hear it, we talk about it with our clients, but this isn't just a client tool. It's a coach's daily recalibration button. So kind of like your phone. If you have a phone that is like on overload or on the fridge, sometimes you gotta power that thing down. And when you're triggered by low client response or doubt or fear, power down the phone. Stop in that moment and challenge the narrative that you're telling yourself. I'm not a good coach, or they're not serious. You are a good coach. You are in this room. You are showing up. You're contending for your health. You're trying to help people. You are a good coach. But there is a tape that we play, so it's so easy to go back to that old tape, like cassette tape I'm talking about. And it just loops and loops and loops. Or maybe 8-track, because an 8-track I think loops more than a cassette tape. A cassette tape I think ends, right, guys? So it's the 8-track. But to challenge that thought and get out of that loop, and then choose a leadership mindset that is rooted in service, courage, and possibility. And those are 3 very powerful words that are very far away from I'm not a good coach. When we come into this with our hearts are to serve, our hearts are to provide courage for other people and to help them see what is possible. So a coach reflection, there's going to be 4 things I'm going to share. And how are we doing on time? Okay. You guys, we have till 45, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Okay. So, and I probably won't take that long, but just wanted to confirm things. So the first coach reflection, and it might not be a bad idea to take screenshots of this slide and the other 3 slides that I'm going to share. But where in your business or mindset do you need to apply this today? I can talk, the Irwins can talk, you can sit there, you can set time aside to be here tonight, you can listen to what we say, but it is when what we learn is applied, that is where the magic happens. That's where the change really happens. So I'm encouraging you to really to put into action what we talk about over these next 4 weeks, and to every week be thinking, how can I apply this? How can I get into action? How can I evaluate myself? And that's going to be some of the homework as well. So next one. Number 2, lead with identity, not information. We're human beings, not human doings, Dr. A says. So people change when their identity changes. As coaches, we must coach from who we're becoming, not just what we know. So I'm a coach who creates transformation, not transactions. And I know, it can be easy to fall into the transaction area. But when we create transformation, and I'm so excited to share some really good questions to ask your clients. But when we help create that transformation, not just for our clients, but for ourselves, everything changes. So invite your clients to declare who they are becoming and reflect it back to them. So they tell you who they are becoming, and you reword that. You say it back to them. And it's different from it. It's powerful for them to speak it, but it's powerful for them to hear it too. So, coach reflection, what identity are you living from as a coach today? Are you saying powerful, awesome things to yourself? Are you saying self-defeating things? What identity would take you to the next level? So going back to the screen that Bill and Sue were sharing right before this, you know, what identity would take you to the next level, which is, integrated regional or global? What identity would it take for you to get to that next level? Fun things to think about. Number 3, mindset is contagious. Center your life around what matters most to you. When we do, everybody wins. We're in alignment. We're alive. We're not fighting against this person we're being, but this person that we really want to be. And that doesn't mean that things are always easy. It just means that when we're in alignment, it resonates so deeply, and it can be a tough time with a client or situations with family or friends or whatever, but our hearts are on fire for what we're doing and the impact that we're making. So speaking of fire, your energy, belief, and mindset set the tone in every conversation. When your mindset is clear, hopeful, and resilient, clients feel it. And the opposite is true. When we are anxious and doubtful or results driven, they feel that too. And so, coach reflection, am I bringing calm confidence or quiet chaos to my calls? All right, I'm pretty stoked about this one. So, number 4, progress over perfection. And maybe I get stoked because this is my saving grace, you guys. This is my saving grace in this community, in this program. And you have to go check out my live today. It is so much, it embodies so much of this, that I don't live a perfect health journey. And I want to live a better health journey. Sue, you are so encouraging to me with your testimony and your story. You inspire me so deeply. I mean, if you didn't get inspired by Sue's story, I don't even know what to tell you. But optimal health is not about perfection. And I think we hear that on a regular basis here. But until we let that sink in, and settle into who we are, it doesn't, it's not enough. So knowing that, telling yourself that optimal health is not about being perfect. It's about progress. And coaches, me being one of them, sometimes feel pressure to be on or perfect. That mindset, this is powerful. That mindset blocks authenticity and growth for you and your clients. Nobody wants that. You don't want that. I don't want that. Our clients don't need that. We're going to prevent them from becoming the very best version of themselves. So share your journey while you're in it. That's what I did tonight. It has been on my heart for probably 3 weeks to become clean with my nutrition, and that I'm not in my healthy BMI, and I need to be in my healthy BMI. What the heck? I'm a health coach. I need to do this, but I don't have to be perfect. I just have to keep making progress. And I can say my life is so different than it was 5 years ago. Maybe not that specific area, but this community, this program, my energy is 1,000 times different than it was 5 years ago. I can go nonstop with my grandkids. My healthy mind is, we don't have enough time for me to tell you how messed up I was mentally in how this program has helped me on a mental level. So share your journey while you're in it. Let your vulnerability, like Sue, and check out my live if you want to, let your vulnerability lead to connection, authenticity, authentic connection. That's what happens when we don't portray being perfect and we portray the value of progress. And invite your team and clients to take messy action with you. So when clients or coaches on your team, they're like, I blew it, you're like, you're going to say, go live about it. And they're like, there's no way. And you're going to be like, yeah, that's your story. That's the story that you are living in. And you're going to provide hope for all your clients and your coaches that they can do it too. And I am not sure. I'm not, please hear me. I'm not saying be dramatic and, you know, be mindful of what all you share on social media. So the coach reflection is, where are you waiting to be perfect when you just need to be present? And there was a specific thing that Sue read in Caden's post about being present. And I'm like, are you kidding me? This kind of stuff is just the absolute coolest. So, where are you waiting to be perfect when you just need to be present? And I want to challenge you, all these coach reflections, answer them. Don't just let me read them. Don't just hear about them tonight. Um, I would recommend taking a screenshot of this, conversations based on mindset. So for coaches, what belief would serve you better this week? If you've been saying things that are negative or maybe are not serving you the best to show up on social media, or to show up the best in the kitchen, to show up best for your healthy movement, whatever the things are that prevent you from being the very best coach that you can be, the best mom, the best wife, the best client, whatever it is. The next one, where's your mindset creating limitations? And if we sit with these, and if you're just real with yourself, sometimes this can sting and it can be painful, but that is where the growth is going to happen. And that is my deepest desire for all of us over the next 4 weeks, that you don't just gain a bunch of information. You don't get a bunch of information. Our lives are changed. They're different, they're better, and they're stronger at the end of these 4 weeks. So next one, what would it look like to show up as the next level version of yourself? Answer that question. Share it with your mentors. Let them know what your eye is on for the next leadership level. And then some really great prompting questions to ask clients. Maybe you've already thought of this. Maybe you do this, but if you haven't, what's one thought you could change to move forward today? Like, maybe you need some fresh some fresh questions on clients who keep struggling. And one of my favorite things to say to clients who continue to struggle is, I'm so proud of you for contending. You keep showing up, and I'm so proud of you for that. So then, just in closing, might not be a bad thing to take a picture of this too, to just remind yourself, as coaches, we're in the business of replacing old patterns with new possibilities. Dr. A didn't just give us a program, he gave us a path. And tonight, I honor the legacy he built by reminding us we're not here to be perfect coaches. We're here to become transformational ones. So, um, yeah, just some more questions you can ask yourself to do some real mindful checking. And I think that that is everything that I wanted to share. So let me get out of here and stop share. And then there is a little bit of homework. Bill.
Yep, I'm pulling it up here.
So
Thanks.
thank you, Robin. And now y'all know why we were so honored and blessed to be in this room with Robin. All of those things. I was taking screenshots, Robin. It's exactly what I needed to hear tonight. So thank you for guiding and leading all of us in your knowledge and your experience in this business. And we're right there with you. I'm going to go watch that live and cheer you on.
Are you wanting to lead the self-assessment piece, or you want to run us to run through it?
You guys can.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, let me switch.
I can if you want me to, but feel free.
I've just got to get this to, well, we may be stuck with you on the screen. Just a second.
So, self-assessment. I did give you some good questions, but there's some, you've probably seen them before. Bill, I'll stop talking whenever you get that.
Right.
There we go. Asking your, yeah, go ahead, Bill. I think you're ready.
All right. Well, I'm still having trouble switching the camera, but so we'll just share. We want you to, hopefully you've seen this before, but this is going to be part of your homework. We want you to grade yourself on number one, how is your personal health? You know, you heard both ladies talk about that tonight, you know, so that's important. How are you doing on your daily branding posts? How are you doing with your intentional social media work? So not just the posting, actually all the things there. Your client support, that's where, you know, growing people comes in. Celebration calls, we've touched on that. And attending Tuesday night calls. You're here tonight, so kudos to that. You know, hopefully you're making sure you're doing that. You know, again, that's part of Edge 30. And again, you know, power hours, you know, at least working the BBAs, but hopefully working in some actual power hours again with that.
Are we doing a 1 to 5? 1 is low, 5 is high.
Yes.
Yep. And we want you to grade yourself, take a screenshot of that, and we want you to send it up your coaching thread for your mentors, that accountability.
Yep, that's the end. So that will lead us in. We're almost coming up against it. The first part of the homework is do that self-assessment and send it up to your business threads once you've completed it. Number one. Number two, once you've taken it, take a look at it. Don't just do it, take a look at it. And we want you to set 3 goals for yourself to achieve by the end of this boot camp. And within that, pick 3 things that you're going to do every week to try and move you towards those goals and send that back up. I see a question to go back to the homework. I'm sorry, you mean the self-assessment, I'm assuming. So
Yep.
There's the self-assessment again if you need to take a screenshot.
And 1 is low, 5 is high.
All right, so doing the self-assessment, setting some goals and some action steps towards that. And then this is a great one, kind of just helping towards month end is, you know, you're going to pick, if you have 2 coaches, if you have more than 2 coaches, pick 2. If you have 2, use those 2. If you have less, however many you have, and you're going to go find one of their posts, particularly one that's had a lot of reactions, a lot of comments, and do what we call bumping that. If you don't know, get with your mentor. I'm sure you all have heard that phrase before, but we're going to try and bump that up, especially if it's somebody who is really close and you're trying to help them get to a month-end goal. And then, as always, for you, never a bad time to update your profile pic, because everybody gets a lot more traction, a lot more information out there.
Yep.
So with that,